fibroids webinar that I also decided to stream here. So hello, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you taking up this time to learn a little bit more about how you can heal yourself from fibroids. I've been waiting a few moments for people to join us, but I think I'm going to go ahead and get started. This replay will be available to anyone that's interested. So let's jump right into this, the fibroids. Hello, hood boy. Where do we start? What are fibroids? Fibroids are benign, non-cancerous tumors that grow in the uterus of a woman, in, around, on the outside of the uterus. They are monsters, and they can really change the life and the lifestyle of an individual drastically. A lot of women have no idea what it is that they're able to do about this situation. When you're diagnosed with them, which is generally found by I hope you can hear me okay. Can you tell me if you can hear me okay? Either way, I'm going to keep going. They're generally diagnosed when you go to the doctor and have an ultrasound done. And they'll tell you right then and there that, hey, you have fibroids. This is something that's common. Don't think, you're a statistic like everyone else. 2 out of 5 women have, thank you for telling me that. 2 out of 5 women have fibroids, so it's not a really big deal. At least that was the reaction that I received when I learned about the fibroids that I had myself, which was very insensitive, but I believe that they hear about it so much and so frequently that they desensitized to it, because so many women are suffering from fibroids. I feel like probably more now than ever before, because there are several things that contribute overall to having fibroids. There are a lot of people out here that are teaching about fibroids, that have healing herbs and steams and things like that that you can do for the fibroids, but I'm going to share a little bit about my journey and what I learned on the fibroid journey, that it was more than what you were eating, that it was more than steaming, that it took more than herbs, which was the actual root of what created the fibroids in the first place. So I do want to address that and just tell you my story. I'm Aisha Nicole, or Aisha Darby. My background is with Exotic Faces, Day Spa, or The Last Shop, or Here to Inspire. But my background overall has been in the beauty and wellness industry for over 20 years. I have been in that industry. I've primarily served women, but also done healing work for men as well. So, trying to learn. Some people are having a hard time signing in. Hold on, let's see, 1 second. Let's see, maybe I can come back and do some editing. I'm sorry if you're anyone that's trying to log in through the website is having a challenging time. I am going to really quickly see if I can rectify that situation for you. For those people that are with me on IG Live, thank you for being patient. Just give me a quick second here, and let's find out what in the world is going on, because for whatever reason, it's not syncing or linking. So I don't know what's going on. Sorry. Okay, so let's see. This is what I think is happening here. I believe that I am live streaming from 2 different places. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, hey, I'm going to keep it moving, okay? What I've learned, if I've learned anything in business or just in life, is that sometimes things don't go the way that you plan. So, You have to learn to improvise and to just keep it moving. Okay, I'm not going to let this stop me. There were clearly two different links to stream and to watch this video via the website. I sincerely apologize to anybody that's having a hard time trying to get through. I am going to send out the replay. Okay, so with that being said, I'm just going to keep going. So my story with the fibroids. I had, prior to developing fibroids, pretty normal cycle. They were always painful and uncomfortable, but they weren't heavy or anything going on like that. They were pretty normal. And then one day, they just started getting really heavy. That was the first sign that I noticed, was heaviness, or excessive like bloating in the stomach area. Now, for the people that haven't been diagnosed or don't know what's going on, some of the signs of fibroids, that's the first sign, is the heavy bleeding, particularly for people that may not have been doing that all of the time or didn't have a problem with bleeding before. Heavy bleeding is a major issue that comes up with people that have fibroids. That was the first indicator that something was off. Second indicator can be longer periods, longer cycles. My cycle used to be 3 to 4 days on average. I was never one of those 7, 8-day people with my cycle. Some people are. So whatever your cycle is, whether it's 7 days or 6 days or whatever, if it automatically extends one day and gets really, really long, something is going on. If it gets really, really heavy, something is going on. Generally, these fibroids come inside of the uterine cavity. So your body is naturally trying to flush it out, get rid of it, push it out, push it out, push it out. So with that, it's going to come more life force, more blood that you're going to be losing. Another thing that people start to notice is that you just feel tired all the time. And this is generally a result of a condition called anemia, from you losing too much life force. So your hemoglobin can become very low, and you just feel tired and fatigued all the time. I'm a pretty energetic person, so I knew something was off, but I never in my mind thought about fibroids. It was something that I didn't even think that I was going to be able to deal with. One, I was vegan. So one of the main things I've heard when I've listened to other kind of workshops, listen to other people talk about the fibroids, is how important the diet is, which I agree, the diet is extremely important. However, at the time that I manifested the fibroids, I was vegan. I wasn't eating meat, had been off of it for years. I've been off dairy since I was a teenager. Um, I exercised on a regular basis. I had a pretty healthy lifestyle. I wasn't like overweight. As a matter of fact, as far as I was concerned, I was underweight. When I was vegan, I was hella skinny. So it wasn't that, and we're trying to figure out like, well, what's going on with me? So we're looking at the physical, right? Because that's generally what we're trained to do. Like, what are these are these symptoms that I have going on? What is happening in my what's changed in my life physically that's causing these physical manifestations? So went to the doctor, found out that she did the ultrasound, found out that I had fibroids, which was a shock to me. I totally did not expect her to say that. I didn't know what she was going to say, but I definitely didn't expect to hear that. So I started crying on the table, and the lady is like looking at me crazy, like, what's your problem? I'm like, you just told me that I have like 4, not 1, but 4 tumors, because that's what they are, fibroid tumors, growing inside of me. And as far as I'm concerned, or at least with my limited knowledge that I had at the time, hey, I'm a healthy person. I thought, in my naivete, well, that's something I'm not gonna deal with stuff like that. I'm healthy, I eat well, I work out well, I have a positive outlook on life, I get plenty of sunshine, I do all the things that are supposed to be quote unquote right, and to keep you healthy, to not deal with any dis-ease in the body or anything like that. Like, I'm eating my antioxidants and keeping the free radicals out of my body. How can something foreign be growing inside of me? So this was very humbling to me, because quite frankly, in my arrogance, I thought that I was doing everything right. And according to what I thought and learned up until that point, I was, until I had to live and do more research and learn more. So what was going on in my life at that time? Well, I was in a relationship with someone, Um, and I was in a lot of pain in that relationship. I was very angry in that relationship. I was unhappy more times than I was happy in that relationship, particularly within a 12-month window. Okay. So December of one year, let's say 2020, I went in, had an ultrasound done, everything looks fine, there's nothing going on. December of the following year, exactly 1 year later, I manifested these 4 fibroids. My lifestyle, nothing had changed other than I was tired. So it was harder for me to work out as frequently, but I still pushed through and did what had to do. I assimilated. Um, so I was completely befuddled about how did these fibroids get here? Like, what did I do to manifest this in my life? Well, I was in this relationship where I wasn't happy. My partner kept violating the terms of the relationship or cheating, and I allowed my partner to come back. So as a result of that, not only was I angry with him whenever some mess would come up, I was more so angry at myself for allowing this mistreatment in this relationship, or for staying, continuing to forgive and stay. Like, you forgive, a person violates the situation again, you try again, they violate the situation again. At this point, like, your behavior is consistent and I'm the common denominator here. So really, I saw it as I was the problem. Like, something's going on with me that you won't walk away from this situation. So I was angry with myself. And because I work with women and do women's empowerment work and women's wellness work in particular, I was even more angry with myself because I'm like, Aisha, you know better, right? You know better. You know what you know, right? So why are you caught up in this type of situation? Why is this going on? You don't know what you don't know until you know. So I'm still in that particular relationship, unhappy, uh, unhealthy, continuing to forgive, not knowing that these little monsters, these little fibroid monsters, are growing inside of my body simultaneously. I had no idea that was going on, like, because they start out really small. So a lot of people have them and don't even know, they don't even feel them. They can have them for years before they start to manifest any issues within your womb, before you start having really heavy cycles and stuff like that, or depending on where they're located. Um, it really can be an issue here. I don't know who this Pretty Tough Moms is, but let's do that. Anyway, so with all that being said, me being angry with myself, not very happy about how I was moving in this relationship, so I manifested these fibroids. And what I've learned is you can ignore things and put them off in life, but not address them. I think I talked earlier briefly up on a video about emotions, right? So not really acknowledging your emotions. Also, not wanting to be a nag, or not wanting to be just what I consider like the typical female in these relationships. So dishonoring my emotions. Well, what you ignore emotionally is not going to ignore you. So it's going to manifest somewhere in the body. For me, it manifested in the womb as these fibroids. So 1 year later, had the fibroids. Devastated when the lady tells me, like, what could have happened in 1 year? I still hadn't connected the fibroids to my emotional state and the fact that I was angry. I'll take it a little bit deeper. Every organ in your body, all of your major organs correspond to a different emotion. So anger can throw your liver off, okay? It causes imbalance in your liver. Fibroids are fed by estrogen, which is something our bodies, women's bodies, produce naturally. If you're producing too much estrogen or consuming too much estrogen in your body, eat through certain foods or just environmental factors that create fake estrogen, for lack of a better term, in the body. Their body recognizes that estrogen, your liver's working really, really hard to filter all this stuff out. Okay. Not to mention, because I'm emotionally unhappy, I was medicating more to make myself feel better, drinking more. Wasn't really a big drinker, but I started drinking more then. And you'll be surprised how that creeps up on you. So no, I wasn't an alcoholic. I wasn't getting drunk. But every time you have a drink, your body has to, your liver has to work to filter all of that stuff out of you, to get rid of the toxins that are there. So medicating, drinking more wine to make myself unwind and feel better, not knowing that I was killing myself or hurting myself very, very slowly, very quietly on the inside. So then maybe some months later, you start noticing like pain, just pain out of nowhere, abdominal bloating, like always looking like I was swollen or something in the belly. Like, what the hell is going on? I'm not pregnant. Why am I swollen like this all the time? The fibroids were growing. Unbeknownst to me, though, didn't know what was going on again until I went back to the doctor 12 months later and learned that there were 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm like, well, what do I do? How do I get rid of these? She's like, well, you can try hormone therapy, like they give you some birth control pills or something like that and hope that that'll balance it out. Or you can get surgery and have them removed, or you can get a hysterectomy. Those were pretty much the options that were given to me at that time. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like at the time I was in my 30s. I didn't have any children. I didn't want it. Those weren't, hysterectomy definitely wasn't an option for me. So like, what are the other options that I could potentially do? Oh, well, we can go in and cut off the blood supply, but that's all we can really do. I mean, we can't guarantee they're not going to come back. That's what I kept hearing. We can't guarantee they're not going to come back. So I am a very solution-oriented person. Some of the issues that I've had with medicine just overall is not really getting down to the root cause of what's going on. We're just treating the symptoms. So I can treat the symptoms of what's going on, but if you never really address the roots, the problem is going to just occur, or we can just cut it out. So cutting it out wasn't the option for me. So that began my journey to figure out how to heal myself. So the diet is a huge contributing factor, right? We do have to not consume so much sugar or any sugar at all if you're really seriously talking about healing this thing. You got to get sugar out of the diet, dairy out of the diet, excessive meats out of the diet. At the time, I was vegan, and I believe that for the duration of my healing window, that was good for me. For people that eat meat every single day. Now, I'm not anti-meat. I'm not one of those people anymore. At one point I was, but I now believe in eating for your blood type. So some people need a little bit of meat, but we don't have to eat meat 3 times a day or with every single meal. You can eat it a couple of times a week or once a week or twice a month or whatever the case may be. But some bodies need the animal protein, okay, to break down. I'm not one of those, everybody needs to be a vegan chick, because I just don't believe that that's true. Based on my own experience, when I was vegan, I was hella malnourished. There were just certain things that I wasn't getting in my diet that my body needed. In addition to that, I had a spleen deficiency, so my body wasn't absorbing the nutrients from the food as much. It was an absorbency issue that was going on. So this thing is layered. You go into the doctor, they're like, yeah, so you got these fibroids growing and boom, boom, boom. But as a result of the fibroids, you comes with the anemia, then the heavy cycles, then it impacts your life, your sex life, how you can move around, because sex can become painful depending on where they're located. So that's implemented or impacted, excuse me. The duration of your cycle is impacted. I've talked to some women that were having 20, 21-day cycles. Think about how that impacts your life. And if it's heavy, think about how that impacts your life. Some people, you might not even be able to go to work if you work, or leave the house when you're on your cycle. And then at one point, my fibroids did get that bad, where I had to just completely shut down during my cycle time, or spend the majority of the time just in the bathtub, because the flow was just so heavy, so uncomfortable. I'd be scared I'm gonna spot, scared to sit down on anything, just scared. And that's no way to live. And so I understand and have compassion for the women that decide to say, you know what, I'm just going to get the surgery. I do. Because it really does impair your life and how you generally are able to move around. It really does. Um, I haven't having to plan events and trips and stuff around my cycle. Like my whole life began to revolve around my cycle, right? And I'm a pretty free spirit. I really don't like schedules, you know, it interrupts with your spontaneity and all that. So it was really a challenging time um, for me. Not to mention, like I said, I'm emotionally a wreck in this relationship that's not going anywhere good. So the relationship ended, but the damage was already done. I got out too late. Now, I don't, you know, everything that happens in my life happens for a reason. I believe even this whole journey of even manifesting the fibroids was so I would be able to come out, reach one, teach one, and help somebody else with some of their issues that they may be having, because I'm a touch the stove kind of girl. So part of my manifestation may have been so I had real life experience with it. So I'm not just coming on as someone that's read a book and I'm going to tell you like, okay, this is what the book says do. No, I'm going to talk to you about exactly what it is that I had to do um, to to get to get down to the root of it and to get rid of it. So I lived with these fibroids for many years. You know, going in, maybe they might shrink a little bit, and sometimes they might grow back a little bit. So I'm like, what's going on with the up and down? You know, like why are they shrinking? And then I come back 6 months later, they've grown. Um, Like, I just want to get rid of them, you know, because again, they were tormenting my life, taking days away from my life, taking away from my life force, from my joy factor, you know. And that's what they do. So people start to slowly but surely break down and become really depressed. Like, so then the depression kicked in. It's like, damn, I can't even really like live a regular life anymore. I can't even sleep on white sheets anymore, let alone wear a pair of white pants or anything like that. Like little things that we take for granted until you're not able to do it. So I started my journey again with the diet and with the herb sister. She's the first person that I went to. I call her the womb lady, but I believe she's the herbsister.com. Um, exceptional human, very knowledgeable about herbs and womb wellness. So I had an instance where I was just basically hemorrhaging, like just flowing nonstop, feeling weak. My mother was a friend of her sister's and talked to my mother. She contacted the friends, like, hey, I know someone there. Anyway, this lady was kind enough to allow me to come to her at some crazy hour and get a gallon of her womb detox, you know, which she recommends. I started drinking that. It did stop the flow. I say within, you know, a few hours, stop the flow because I had been flowing at this point probably like 14 days. That's a long time to be losing life force. Heavy at that, not like just light, like heavy, going through 2-3 packs of pads in a cycle. It was really extreme for me. So that began my journey about the herbal healing. So I took her detox, and with that, that came with, of course, not consuming any flesh products, not consuming any sugar, not consuming anything basically that's going to feed the fibroid. So I was eating pretty bland, okay? I mean, just pretty much eating salads and vegetables and stuff like that every day. And I did it. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was like 21 days or something like that. And it did help, but it didn't heal it completely. It did give me some relief, and then I at least learned how to control the flow by taking it. And then educating myself more on the herbs that were in it so that I can consume the herbs on my own and not have to do the full detox every single time. And help inspired me to further my education on herbal healing and the herbs that work well for the womb. You know, something really simple that you have in your cabinet that a lot of people don't know will kind of help stop you from bleeding really heavily is cinnamon. So I would just take cinnamon in a cup and pour warm water in it and drink it like tea. And normally within 30 minutes to an hour, that can help you stop flowing excessively, you know, because you really have to control that flow. When until you can get the fibroids out of your body or under control, all your focus is really on controlling that flow. And let's talk about what contributes to the heavy flow. Sugar contributes directly to the heavy flow. But guess what? When you're on your cycle, it's natural to crave sugar, right? It's natural to want to eat up America or eat up a pie or a cake or something like that. It's natural to want to do those things. But they're just feeding those little fibroid monsters, because that's what they are, monsters. So you may want to drink to make yourself feel better. Alcohol turns into sugar in the body. So you're still giving yourself more sugar. No, no, no. It's not the best thing. But we don't know what we don't know until we know, right? That's why these platforms are so amazing. We can share this information with one another and hopefully get more healing, more healing, more healing. So sugar can make you flow harder. And just being upset, stress, sitting in traffic can do it. You know, whatever stresses you, whatever makes your stress level go all the way up is going to impact your womb. For those that are on Instagram Live that are just kind of checking me out, this live is about fibroids, okay? Holistically healing fibroids. So for the gentlemen that are tuning in, if you have a wife, a sister, a mother, a homegirl that you know deals with this, please, when the video is over, share it with her, okay? Please share it with her. So where was I? Food, how that impacts it. Anything that can make you upset. I recall having a conversation, or really like an argument, at the time that my cycle was there and present. And oh my gosh, I started hemorrhaging in the midst of the argument, like literally hemorrhaging. Like I just have to go stand in the bathtub. And my partner at the time was still messing with me. Like, dude, I'm sitting here literally with the door closed, dying in the bathroom slowly but surely. Like, leave me alone. Stop having this conversation. I didn't know how to not engage or to put myself first in that situation. You know, I'm still going back and forth through the door, not seeing the connection though. Like, I'm upset. So that's making my womb upset. Most women are so, you're welcome. Most women are so disconnected from their wombs and from their bodies. They can't even tell when their womb is crying, because that's really what the hemorrhaging is. It's like your womb is like crying, like, please stop whatever you're doing to contribute to it. Whether that's eating up America and putting all this bad stuff inside of your body, or consuming things here that are toxic to the body, right? So being mindful of that, because I learned through my long journey that that really was the root. The emotions. How are you managing your emotions? Are you honoring yourself? Your emotions are a gauge. Your emotions are a gift. And I know that they've been downplayed and they've been spoken bad about throughout history. You know, women at one point were damn near locked up for being too emotional. You get convicted. They'll say you have hysteria, you know, and do all kinds of stuff to you because you're crazy, not knowing like it's probably just hormonal imbalance that's there, you know, that's going on, that's making you crazy, basically, or come across crazy, but you're not crazy. Your emotions are a gauge. So if you're upset about something, you need to sit down with yourself and maybe a piece of paper and a journal and say, like, why am I upset? What's going on right now? We don't always even recognize why we feel certain ways because we don't take time to sit with our emotions long enough to explore that. What do we want to do? We want to cover it up. We want to medicate. We want to forget that they're there. We want to go and do everything else but sit down with ourselves and with our emotions and ask, like, okay, what's going on? Why is this going on? Why do I feel this way? This is why meditation is such a powerful tool, just to quiet the mind so you can start to hear the subconscious and hear what's going on internally and hear your creator, hear the creator. whatever you want to call it, God, spirit, universe, Yahweh, whatever you call your creator. Can't hear when there's so much noise. And we now live in a society where there's so much noise going on. Our attention is on everything. We're on social media all day when we're standing in line, when we're laying in bed, when we're watching, when we're in the cars driving, we're watching social media, watching TikTok videos. When we're at home, we're watching television, we're listening to the radio. It's just constant chatter going on all the time, 24 hours a day until you sleep. And guess what? If you sleep with the TV on, there's still chatter that's going on that's being fed to your subconscious mind. And what do a lot of people like to watch? You can be listening to the news while you're asleep, which is full of, negativity over and over again. It's cool to be informed. Okay, be informed. But you don't have to keep your TV on CNN or whatever stations you watch all day, 24 hours a day. It's playing while you're sleeping. That's playing into your subconscious mind. So you can be still making yourself upset even in your sleep. Even while you're resting, you're still making yourself upset. So becoming more conscious, social media has been awesome, but it's really disconnected us from ourselves, let alone each other, but really, really from ourselves. We're not spending as much time out in nature. Everything is on the schedule, or for the live, for the gram. We're not really genuinely taking time to connect. There's so much healing that comes just from going to stand outside in the grass, just from walking in the park. A lot can be absorbed from you. A lot of stress that you're holding in your body can be absorbed just from being outside in nature. A lot of us don't even like being outside. We're in cars all the time. We're in the house all the time. So society overall has shifted, right? So that within itself has also been a contributing factor to what's going on with the fibroids. For women that still relax their hair, that's been linked also to fibroids. Um, I've also read a study about maybe like acrylic and gel and stuff has been linked to fibroids, because all these things are putting toxins in the body. So it's not even really about the perm or the gel. It's all the work we're putting on our liver. If your liver is overworked, it's too busy to think about filtering out excess estrogen that might be in the body. So guess what the fibroids are doing? Just eating and eating and eating and growing and eating and growing and eating. So back to my story. I'm taking the herbs. I'm spending more time outside. I'm out of the relationship that I was angry in the whole time. But guess what? I was still angry. I was out of the relationship and I was still angry. Now I'm angry that at the end of the relationship, I'm left with these little fibroid monsters. Now I'm mad at myself. I'm mad. I'm just mad at everybody. I'm mad at women. I'm mad at men. I'm just mad at humans. I'm just mad. I'm not an angry person. But I was during this phase of my life. Very, very angry. Noticeably angry. One of the first steps to do is to get back to your joy. Get back to what makes you feel good. Sometimes we lose ourselves in these relationships, men and women. We can forget who we are, or we can get so caught up in the mundane routine of habit and work and paying bills and work and paying bills, and we take a vacation once a year, and we have sex scheduled on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Spontaneity is left out of life, the fun, that's left out of life and out of relationships, because everything is about work, responsibility, and then coming to the pictures and smiling pretty to make it look like everything is okay and you're happy and you're living your best life. While in the meantime, you're dying on the inside and your womb is screaming and crying every single month. Please pay attention to me. Please hear me. I'm not happy. I'm not happy with the way that you're living. I'm not happy with this lifestyle that you're living. I'm not happy with what you're eating. I'm not happy with the fact that you never take these 4-inch heels off all day. You're putting so much pressure on me. I'm not happy that you just letting this dude smash, this dude smash, this dude smash, and then he's energetically just dumping inside of my womb. That's a whole other thing. Who are you having sex with? What's their mental capacity like? And this isn't about kink or whether you like it hard or rough, or this isn't about that at all. This is strictly about energy. We are energetic beings, right? So if you're dealing with a toxic individual or several toxic individuals, and then you have sex with them, and they're laying there and they're relieved and they're great and sleep and feeling lighter, and now all of a sudden you're feeling heavier or having thoughts that don't generally originate with you. Like, what is this going on? What am I thinking this for? This is why I say it's not healthy to sleep with losers, whatever your definition of a loser is, because guess what? Then you start thinking like a loser. These are facts that I've personally experienced. I know several people that have experienced. So it's more than just the hormones. It's more than just the diet. It's more than just the toxic relationships. It's a whole web. And guess what's at the root of the web? You, your emotional state, and your subconscious mind. And just let that sink in for a quick second. So on my path, I changed my diet. I started steaming. That's when I became certified as a womb steam practitioner and learned more about the herbs. That's when I became an herbalist, took courses on that, and started learning specifically about the herbs that you can use to treat the womb and to treat womb wellness and to treat anxiety and to treat depression, all holistically. This is a long journey. I've taken a long time to find this solution and to figure out what the root of the issue has been. And that's been the biggest discovery. It's your emotional state. All those other things add weight. They do. But we're talking about the root, the seed, where it starts. Mine started in an unhealthy relationship. Yours could start in a job that you hate, that you get up and go to every day. Yours could start from trauma that you've been carrying since you were a little kid. You've been mad at your mom, you've been mad at your dad all these years, and you never do anything to try and work on healing that wound. So your whole life, you're medicating and medicating, and you can be medicating with various things. I'm not just talking about alcohol. I'm not just talking about drugs. Some people medicate with sex. Some people medicate by shopping excessively. Um, some people medicate with pills, with medication. I mean, people medicate in all sorts of different types of ways. Anything to not feel. That's the key to your recovery right there, is to feel first. Feel. What am I feeling? What's going on? Why do I feel this way? What's contributing to this feeling? What can I do? Is there anything I can do? Do I have any control? These are just questions you can just ask yourself. If you've been on this journey, especially. Because this course is not for the person that's not ready. It's not for the person. What? It's not for the person. I'm sorry, I got a message from somebody. This course is not for the individual that doesn't want to do the work. You know what I'm saying? You have to be ready to do this work. Oh no, I think I lost my IG family. Did I? Let me see. Because clearly I'm still learning how to work all these platforms, honey. Clearly. So, and I believe I, hold on, you guys. Thank you so much for being patient with me. Thank you so much for being patient with me. Be patient. Anyway, back down to the root. I seem to have lost. Oh, can I go back? My live video ended. Can I go back? No? No? Oh man, I hate that. And I don't even think it's saved. Whatever. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Back. Getting this information out. Fibroids, holistically healing your fibroids, getting down to the root. The root that I've discovered is your emotional state. So, with that being said, what did I do? So once I realized what the root of the issue was, I had to get very aggressive in my healing. Very aggressive. Hello, everybody that just joined in. Very aggressive with the healing. Cut the toxic relationship out. Cut the bum ass sex partners out. Cut the foods that are feeding the fibroids, things high in estrogen. The first thing, of course, that came to my mind is chicken, because by this time I had started eating meat again. So cut the chicken out of the diet, because if you don't know, a lot of these people raising chickens inject the chickens with, guess what? Estrogen, to make the breast and the thighs of the chicken nice and juicy, because that's what people like to eat, right? So your body is ingesting this estrogen also. So that's just feeding your fibroids more estrogen, helping them just grow and live happy, harmonious lives in your womb while it is driving you absolutely crazy. So taking the herbal solutions, steaming, womb steaming, addressing the subconscious mind, addressing how I feel about myself subconsciously, paying attention to what I'm feeding my mind, not just my body, but my mind. What are you feeding your mind? What are you listening to? Who are you listening to? What are you watching? So I had to cut a lot of stuff out. I was never a TV person. That wasn't an issue. But, I might waste my time on one of these social media platforms or something, or watch a movie that was, upsetting to me. And everything that's upsetting to one is not upsetting to another. You. The whole journey is going to help you get to know you that much more, because you're going to have to keep a journal, and you're going to have to do a lot of trial and measure to find out what your triggers are, what makes you flow heavier, what makes you upset, what makes you sad, what do you do about it? Do you allow yourself to feel? Do you repress it, push it back down? Do you act like, I'm not tripping off that, nothing's wrong with me? I mean, is that you? Is that your personality, even though you're just screaming on the inside? Those fibroids are going to scream too, and they're just going to grow and grow and grow. And we don't want that. So change the diet. Steaming. Herbal infusions. Detoxing people from your life. You might have to remove some people from your life to get through this journey, okay? Removing some people from your life. Healing affirmations I'm doing with myself. Daily journaling as I get to know what's going on and start to actually record the emotions. Like, damn, what's happening with me? Learning the herbs. Some of the herbs that are really, really helpful for this. Lady's mantle, shepherd's purse, red raspberry leaf, cinnamon, Vitex. Now, there are a lot of awesome formulas that are out here that you can get to help shrink the fibroids. As long as those key herbs are there, that's great. Take them. I'm not advocating for any specific product line at all. Not at this time. Now, I do have the fibroid-free steams that have the herbs in them that you need to steam. But you can get the herbs yourself. You can grow them. You can pick them. Do whatever you need to do. Herbs don't work overnight, though. Herbs are not a quick fix-it pill. It's something you have to do over a duration of time. The other thing that I added to the healing regime was acupuncture. Acupuncture is very, very powerful. It was through acupuncture that I learned that my spleen was deficient. We don't talk a lot about the spleen. My spleen was off, and my body was telling me in so many different ways. But I didn't recognize the language that it was speaking to me. The spleen is going to help me absorb the nutrients from my food. So even though I was consuming enough iron in iron-rich foods, my body wasn't absorbing all of the iron from the food. Not to mention, when you've got a spleen deficiency, raw food, cold food is really not your friend. That's what I'm saying. This is not a one-size-fits-all type of a solution. It's very, very specific to you, to your constitution, to your lifestyle, to what your body needs. So there are a few things, you know, like we know the herbs that work, right? But you could be taking the herbs, but still eating only raw foods, making your spleen work harder, not absorbing the nutrients that it is that you need from the food. So you're still dealing with the anemia. The anemia is impacting your lifestyle. You can't move around as much as you used to. So guess what? Now you're depressed. Guess what that does? Feed those fibroids, because the root is the emotions. Okay. So it took me about, once I got serious about it, because you have to be ready. It's drastic changes that you're making with your life, but this is a drastic thing, right? I don't want to have surgery. I didn't want to have my womb removed. You know, and I think that if some people that did opt to have that, this is no judgment, because I empathize and I completely understand it's a frustrating, long journey. I do. I empathize. I still wanted to potentially maybe have children. So that wasn't an option for me. For some women, they're like, I'm not having any more babies. I don't want to do that. I don't care. Take it. I don't want to deal with it anymore. I'm sick of bleeding anyway. Take it. And if that's you, that's fine. Hakuna Matata, I respect free will. But if that's not you and you still want to hold on to your uterus, then you got to get real, real with yourself. Because cutting out the womb is not going to address the root issue any damn way. Yeah, maybe you're not bleeding anymore, but you're still repressing emotions. You're still in toxic relationships, whether that relationship is with your job, with your family, with your mate, with your children, with yourself. You're still addicted to escapism and not really wanting to deal with yourself or your stuff. So the problem is just going to manifest someplace else. But I believe the women are seeing such a big issue with this because all women have a uterus. Our reproductive systems are very sensitive. They're already working harder and under attack just from the environment that we live in, just for all the stuff that's in the air, just from the stuff that the extra chemicals they put in our food, just from the stuff that they put in the toiletries that we use on our bodies. All those things are making our bodies work so hard. This is why our grandmothers and great grandmothers didn't really deal with this in excess like we're dealing with it now. Life was a lot more holistic. If you wanted to eat meat, often you might have to go outside and kill something to eat it, like kill the chicken or kill the cow. So guess what? They're not eating meat every single day. If you wanted to grow something, you wanted to get you went and got food from your garden outside. So naturally you're getting sunshine, you're getting vitamin D, you're working with the earth. You are channeling and getting rid of some of your emotions just by working and cultivating the earth and working with food. We don't do that anymore. We go to the store and get our food. We're not walking to work or to school with our children anymore. We're getting in the car and we're driving. We're not sweating that much anymore. We're sitting in air-conditioned buildings and cars and vehicles. So while we're not warming our food up anymore, we're throwing everything in the microwave and radiating the food. I can go on and on and on about all of the things that have changed in society for our quote unquote convenience, but they really over time have been to our detriment because of what they're doing to us internally, health wise. That's men and women, womb or no womb. So my timeline was about 4 months. I did get those fibroids to abort themselves. And when I say abort themselves, they aborted themselves. My body went like it was in labor. I dilated. They fell out. You hear lots of stories about women talking about that they fell out. Sometimes if it's not connected by the stalk, it's not subcutaneous. Sometimes they can just fall out in the toilet or, on a bed or in the steam pot or whatever the case may be. I had one fall out at the acupuncture office after a session. Felt the dilation while I was on the table. Acupuncture is powerful for aligning those meridians back in the body and just kind of getting you back in balance. Because it was more than just the womb that was throwing things off. My liver was stressed. My spleen was stressed. So those things had to be treated in addition to the womb. This body, like I said, it's a complex web. It's not just the one thing. You can't just drink the herbs. You can't just do the steams and not the herbs. You can't just work out and not take the herbs and not do the steams. You can't just get the acupuncture and not take the herbs and not have the healthy lifestyle. You can't just break up with the toxic relationship, whether that's with work or your mate or whatever. It works collectively. You have to do a complete reset of your entire life and your lifestyle. And that's something you have to be ready for. Everybody's not ready for that. We all are where we are until we're not. Some will never get there. This isn't for you, though. This is for the person that wants to do the work, that's not intimidated by the work, that what they're dealing with now outweighs whatever work that they have to do, that was willing to do whatever they have to do to not have to have their wounds removed. If that's you, then what I have is for you. I might have something else for those that's not, I have some steams. You can steam. I'm offering complimentary consultations. I'll do a consultation with you if you like and share that information about what you can do. But for the whole totality, like the full thing, it took me about 90 days. 90 days, no sugar. 90 days of no toxicity coming in internally, into my mouth, into my head, into my vagina. No toxicity whatsoever. Some of those herbs that I mentioned earlier, it took the herbs. So shepherd's purse was one that was very instrumental in my healing. Shepherd's purse, lady's mantle, red raspberry leaf, Vitex, or chaseberry. That's the other name for Vitex. Those four right there are a really good start. They work really well synergistically, though. They work better together than they do individually. So that's why I'm saying there's some products out here that combine all of the herbs. Check out the Herb Lady. I think Chef Aki makes a serum or something like that. You can do your research on that. But make sure that those ingredients are in there. Okay? Dong Quai. Now, Dong Quai is going to be in a lot of those infusions that you found. But for me, Dong Quai was making me flow heavier. Dong Quai has another name that's called Angelica or Angelica, but Angelica. So the problem I had with Dong Quai or Angelica was it moves blood, but I was having an issue with too much blood. So I had to get that under control to where I'm not flowing so heavily before I was able to incorporate that into my regime, okay? That's why I say this is a very complex, specific web. For some women, that works, it was no problem. All women with fibroids don't have the super, super heavy periods. But that was one of my main problems. I was hemorrhaging every month. So I didn't need anything that was going to make me bleed more. I needed the herbs that were going to stop it, the shepherd's purse. That cocktail right there, I would drink every month. Well, really, daily, I would drink it. But the week prior to the cycle, that's the most, that week was really, really important. Definitely no caffeine. A lot of people don't know that caffeine can make you flow heavier. Okay? So there was no caffeine that week or during the cycle. Okay? No caffeine. Cut that sugar. Drink these herbal infusions. Heat increases circulation. That's going to increase your blood flow. So those little heat pads and hot water bottles that would bring us comfort sometimes when you're cramping, If you have fibroids, they could potentially make you bleed heavier. So keep that on your back, maybe. You don't want to steam on your cycle when you have fibroids. You don't want to steam longer than 20 minutes, really, when you have fibroids. Got other stuff going on that's different, you know? But we're talking about fibroids today. So, for 90 days, there's no sugar, herbal infusions. I did steam once a week with the exception of the week of the cycle. So starting a few days before the cycle and that particular week. Stop it. I stopped steaming. I was steaming the whole time, not knowing that was making me flow more, you know. I went through a lot of trial and measure to get this information to hopefully save somebody else some time. Okay. So acupuncture, I was getting acupuncture once a week. Anything to kind of just relax me also, you know. So I would get massage or reflexology. You know, I incorporated that into my lifestyle because stress is a contributing factor to this thing. So whatever you can do to de-stress, 90 days. But it can be done in 90 days. My fibroids aborted themselves while I was on a trip out of town. And cycle came. It was really heavy. You know, I'm drinking my herbal infusions, but for some reason this day it felt extra heavy. The pain was more intense. It was because I was dilating and didn't realize that I was dilating at the time. So with that dilation, a few hours later, the fibroid fell out. But because it was subcutaneous and it had a stalk that was attaching it to the uterus, it fell out into the vaginal canal and was just chilling there. It was scary. And I lost an excessive amount of blood. My hemoglobin was very low, very low. By the time I got to the hospital, it was down to like a 3 or a 4. Normal hemoglobin for females between 12 and 14. If you don't know what hemoglobin does, it's very important. It carries the oxygen throughout the body, through the blood. It carries oxygen to all of your organs. So if you don't have enough hemoglobin, your organs are going to start to shut down after a while. You just want to go to sleep. You ever seen the movies when someone gets shot or something and they're just bleeding, or maybe you work in a hospital and you've seen it, or maybe you've just seen it. People bleed out. They're bleeding out because they're losing too much blood. They can't get enough oxygen to their organs. So you just want to go to sleep. And to be quite honest with you, that day I was ready to just go to sleep. I was tired. I was tired of being in pain. You know, just like, oh, let me just lay here for a minute. I just want to lie here. Fortunately, I was with someone that broke into the door, got me to the hospital for them to offer me blood that I kept refusing because I didn't want any blood. I didn't want another blood transfusion. I didn't tell you that was part of the path too. I had maybe 3 or 4 blood transfusions before I got these fibroids under control because my blood, my anemia would get so extreme and be so low. You know, so some of the things that I was taking to help with the anemia, sea moss. Sea moss is really, really, really good for that. Bladderwrack. Sometimes you can find a sea moss bladderwrack combination. I was taking Dr. Sabi's at the time. There are other brands out there, but they were also helping me build my iron back. Molasses, blackstrap molasses. I would take 2 tablespoons of that every single day to help build my anemia. Because for me, the iron pills made my stomach messed up. They hurt me. They put me in too much pain, so I couldn't take the iron pills. Okay? So with that complex medley of things, I was able to abort my fibroids. And guess what? I had to do it again because they came back. Well, like 2 came back. And they came back because I still was repeating the same things that created them in the first place. So no, I wasn't drinking and doing all that stuff, but I was dealing with somebody in a relationship where I was not happy. The sea moss gel get old if you've had it for a long time. Yeah, the gel does. So it can go bad. I don't keep gel for a long time. I generally will buy the dried sea moss. Either if you don't want to take the tablets, because you can just buy sea moss pills and take them. If you don't want to take the sea moss pills, then I would just buy the dried sea moss and make my own gel, and store it in the refrigerator and take like a tablespoon of that each day. I prefer that. I think, anything you can get in its natural form outside of the pill form, go for it. But sometimes it's not convenient to do that. I would put it in my smoothies until I learned that the smoothies were hurting my spleen. The cold food was hurting my spleen, so I had to cut that out. Okay, so get it in however you need to. Anyway, back to the emotions. They can come back. So this program that I have taken years to create and put so much of my love, my blood, my sweat, my tears, my life force into it, um, is intense, but it works if you're committed to doing the work for yourself. Some people might not take them 90 days. Some people might take longer than 90 days. It depends on the size of your fibroid. Some fibroids can't be passed depending on where they are. Mine were in the uterine canal. I was able to birth them out. But some people's are on the outside of the uterus, on the side, in the wall, in the lining of the uterus. So those have to be shrank. And they can be shrank. You're welcome. They can be shrank. But it starts here. It starts here. And the commitment that you're going to make to yourself for this journey. I wanted to keep this video at about an hour, but if you want to learn more about how you can heal yourself, I am offering complimentary consultations. I do have a course that will be starting on August 22nd of this month for 90 days. We'll go through the journey together with all the steps, everything that it is that you need to heal yourself, in addition to the emotional support. Because remember, I've learned that that's the root. I can tell you about herbs, sell you steams all day. But if you don't address this heart element, if you don't address this head element, I don't know, baby, it's just not going to work. So, thank you for taking time out to listen to me. I am going to attach a link to schedule. If you want to schedule a consultation with me, you can call me, 866-529-9422. You can visit my website, aishanicole.com. By the end of this, there will be a link on the first page where you can schedule a consultation. And let's learn about your individual story and how it can be addressed. But please know, beloved one, that it can be addressed. And it starts with that. The number is 866-529-9422. Or you can go to aishanicole.com. If you signed up via the email list, I will email you the information, and you can just schedule it yourself online. I'll be doing consultations all week. And that's what I do. I'm very passionate about this information and about sharing it with people. So thank you. Thank you for your time. Does anyone have any questions at the time that they want to address? I'm streaming on a couple different platforms. No? Well, if you can't think of the question right now, schedule the consultation, jot it down, and then we'll go from there. I'll be happy to answer whatever I can. Thank you for tuning in. Take care of yourselves. Love one another. And I hope to see you on the other side. Peace.